You can
believe it or believe it not.
Personally, I don't
care.
Tell me. But in being the Shaykh that America produced, that allows me to sit in front of each and every you and be representative of who and what you are. Now I know there's some people in here that was not born in America. I was born a couple of blocks from here. I was born, the first house that my parents took me home from, Kings County Hospital, was on Dean Street between Kingston and Brooklyn. This is my home. But I understand there are some people who weren't born here. I could relate to you too. Because when I left America to go back to Africa, I was an immigrant. I know what it's like to get off in the airport at a port of arrival and not speak the language of the people and not know their culture. I understand. Then when I thought that I was a resident of the Sudan and I thought I was never going to come back to America, my Shaykh told me, no, you didn't come to Sudan to be a Sudanese. You came to Sudan to get this knowledge so that you can take it back and bring it to your people. Meaning the American experience. The brown, the black, the yellow, the white, and the red. So when I got off the plane in Kennedy Airport in February 1991, I didn't have $1 in my pocket. I didn't have a place to go. Because I had put all my chips in Sudan. I thought I was going to stay there. So when I got off the plane at Kennedy Airport in February with a Sudanese jalabia on and some Sudanese flip-flops, I know exactly what it means to be an immigrant in my own country. I can relate. There ain't too much about this American experience I can't relate to. You can
believe it or believe it not.
I love this game. You can
believe it or believe it not.
Personally,
I don't care.
What about this?
You ain't getting.
Jimi Hendrix say, lay back and groove. So, little Alvin grew up in his teenage as a heroin addict. Now they like to call it opioid addiction. That's because white folks doing it. When it was just black folks and Latinos who are really black. But when it was just black folks doing it, it was called a crime. And it was called heroin. Now that white folks doing it, they call it a sickness and they call it opioid addiction. But I was a dope fiend nevertheless. Call it what you want. I was a dope fiend. So I grew up like this in the 60s. Let me tell you a little bit about the 60s, for those of you who weren't born or don't remember. The 60s, we grew up, when I was when I was in 6th grade, I remember in the classroom, I remember when the President of the United States was assassinated. I know exactly where I was. In the 6th grade, the teacher said, go home. They was all crying. Everybody was sad. When I got home, the TV was on. My mother was watching TV. Everybody was sad. I also remember when I was playing football on the block, touch football, outside my house, and someone came along and said, Malcolm X's been assassinated. I remember. I remember sitting in front of my TV, black and white. In fact, I might have been holding the antennas because I had an afro and it gave good frequency. Y'all don't know nothing about that. And they said, Martin Luther King had been assassinated? Are you kidding me? What about this?
You ain't getting.
You can
believe it or believe it not.
Martin Luther King, the Prince of Peace. I have a dream One day, little black boy, little white girl, yada, 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 yada. You know where Martin Luther King dream came true? Where we at? Where we at?
Brooklyn.
What county is it?
King.
Who?
King.
Martin Luther King dream is coming true in this room. You can believe it?
Or believe it not.
I don't personally give a damn. You are the manifestation of Martin Luther King's dream. Because it wasn't only about black or white. It wasn't only about form. It was about the essence. You feel me, Luke Mark? Oh yeah, because we're in the same club. They don't know. Need to know basis. Just keep it gangster. It's Brooklyn. This is Brooklyn. Welcome to the spiritual realm of Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, if we were not known for anything else, for the visitors, in Brooklyn, if we were not known for anything else, we were known for keeping it gangster. How many people from Brooklyn are here? Where the Brooklyn people at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn? Where? How many people from Brooklyn? Let me see. I'm showing here. All right. How many people from Manhattan? How many people from New York? Period. Okay. All right. Good. The reason I say that is because 3 weeks ago, and Mustafa's sitting over there. He's sitting over there all cool in his groove, you know, looking like Eliot Khan. He remember a couple of weeks ago we was in Richmond, Virginia. Am I right, Mustafa? Yeah. We was in Richmond, Virginia. And in Richmond, Virginia, we had a spiritual experience that was one of a kind. Am I right? We had the representation of the awliya, of the friends of Allah. We had the representation of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jalani. We had the representation of Nuruddin Jarahi. Oh, I know you'll like that. We had the representation of Muhyiddin Chisti. We had the representation of Ahmadu Bamba. We had the representation of Ahmad Rafai. And all of the tributaries that stemmed off of those main branches. But guess what, Mustafa? We in Brooklyn tonight. This is my home. You in my turf tonight. Now, Mustafa, you remember back 3 weeks ago, right? You remember what we experienced. We're going to go beyond that. You ready? Can I get a who? Oh, y'all in the house. We're going beyond that. We're going beyond that tonight. We're going to enter into a realm of pure love. You can...
Believe it or believe it not.
Do you believe it, sweetheart?
Yes, I believe it.
Have you come
Inshallah.
to believe in your father?
Yes.
Who is now your Shaykh?
Yes.
Why is your father your Shaykh?
Because Allah decreed it to be so.
Brother Jamil, assalamu alaikum. Jamil, assalamu alaikum. Welcome, ahlan wa sahlan. Alhamdulillah. I told you last time you left, you're always welcome in this house. Welcome back. Tonight, inshallah, we're going to go into the core of who and what we are.